Hey everyone, Christopher here with the Lunchroom Syndicate. I am here today to talk about Drew Brees, one of the best quarterbacks of all time, one of my favorite quarterbacks of all time, and in what was likely his final game, losing to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers 30-20. Ironically, to Tom Brady, because of course, why not? And kind of just want to share some thoughts about Drew Brees. Drew Brees has been one of my favorite quarterbacks since he went to the Saints. Really, I didn't know much about him when he was with the Chargers. I knew of him because as a Buckeye fan, I remember him in the '90s with the Purdue Boilermakers and Purdue. Those really good Purdue teams had high-powered offenses for the era, and they won the Big Ten. They went to the Rose Bowl to play Washington. Um, so I knew of him, and then he went to the Chargers, and he wasn't great, but he was better than what I think most people thought he was. And then San Diego, at the time, had went with Philip Rivers in the first round. Well, kind of. They went with Eli Manning, but Eli didn't want to be there, so they made the trade and whatnot. That fun shit. But then he went to New Orleans in a bit of a fortuitous events where the Nick Saban led Dolphins. Yes, that was a thing, and that's what scares me with the Jacksonville Jaguars. I'll have a video with that one day. And he failed a physical because he suffered a really nasty arm injury in the final game of his Charger career. That a lot of people weren't sure if he'd come back from. And he signed with the Saints, and the rest of the Saints history. 3 years later, they won a Super Bowl title, and he's had one of the greatest careers of all time. Obviously, statistically, he's 1 or 2 in every category, theoretically, outside like interceptions. But it's kind of what I want to talk about with Drew Brees. I'm not a Saints fan in terms of, the New Orleans Saints are my favorite. No, I'm a Jacksonville Jaguar fan, and if you watch some other videos, you'll know that. But I like individual players. I always have. And I like to root for players. And Drew Brees was one that I rooted for after he went to the Saints. Obviously, the Saints, New Orleans, when he went there, was coming a year off the Hurricane Katrina thing, where they basically played no home games in 2005. Play a lot of their games in LSU. Play a home game against the Giants in the Meadowlands because of Hurricane Katrina. And what they did to build back that city, just in terms of their, what's the word I'm looking for? In terms of confidence and give them some happiness, and after of years of rebuild that was coming, New Orleans really took a hit and still arguably never really recovered from that. Obviously, Hurricane Katrina was a very devastating hurricane. I remember Hurricane Katrina well, as someone who loves weather about as much as I love football. But coming in, and 2006 was a magical year for them. They went 10-6, had first round bye, which is very weird for a 10-win team. I have to believe that's probably the only time that's ever happened in NFL history, which will bring me to a point later on. Keep that in mind. Foreshadowing. And which they beat I think it was the Eagles in the second round that year, which they lose to the Chicago Bears in the NFC title game. Yes, the Chicago Bears, 2006 Super Bowl participants, losing to the Peyton Manning-led Colts, even though Peyton Manning had a really terrible game. It was actually one of the worst weather Super Bowls of all time. In a bit of irony, the Rex Grossman-led Chicago Bears. Oh my God, that was a thing. But that really helped to heal the city of New Orleans in a lot of ways. Reggie Bush, Marcus Colston, a lot of those guys. And then he stayed with the Saints through the rest of his career. I don't know if 2020 is it for him. It's been a very large amount of speculation. This video could be very much outdated by the time, in a few weeks. But I feel like it feels like this is it for him. And even if it's not, I don't see the Saints. I think the window for the Saints is closed anyway. They have a cap situation that's not good. Even if Drew Brees comes back, it's hard to see them being a true contender. And Drew Brees isn't able to carry a team like he used to. And he carried this team a lot of those years, especially right after their Super Bowl title. They had made 2 straight playoff appearances after that, and lost to the 7-9 Seahawks the very next year after the title. And then 2011, they were a 13-3 team, which normally is a bye, but not in 2011. In fact, that would happen to them again later on, which is kind of hilarious in 2019. But they would actually be a wild card team. They would win, but lose to the eventual Super Bowl participants in 2011, I think, yeah, San Francisco, not the eventual, I'm sorry, they would lose to San Francisco. I'm a couple years ahead for San Francisco. They would go in, I think, the very next year. They would lose to San Francisco, who would lose to the Giants. I got my things mixed up. But that's, he was a big part of this team. A lot of credit goes to Sean Payton, and maybe deservedly so. But this is the team, all these accolades. We talk about Manning had 4 Super Bowl appearances in his career. Obviously, the second win was almost in spite of how bad Peyton Manning was, but he did have 2 victories and 2 more appearances, including one against the Drew Brees led New Orleans Saints, which they lost 31-17. But he was, I wouldn't say what the Colts did wasted Peyton Manning. I mean, they probably could have been, but they also had Tom Brady and the Pittsburgh Steelers, who were always good too. The AFC was basically Pittsburgh, New England, or Peyton Manning, based when he went and then going to Denver too. It was one of those 3 teams in the Super Bowl. There was no real wiggle room outside of a random Baltimore Ravens appearance. That was it. It was tough to make it. The NFC, on the other hand, seemed like it went through every team over a 15-year period. It's crazy the amount of teams that have gone to the Super Bowl since 2000, let alone, you're talking Tampa Bay, a title in 2002. Carolina's been to a couple. Seattle has been to 3. The Giants went to 3 since 2000, including the 2 random victories. Yes, Eli Manning, not a Hall of Fame quarterback. Maybe another video another time? Maybe if I'm feeling like it. But, the NFC was always considered a weaker conference than the AFC. And maybe part of that was because of the top heaviness of the AFC. And that's fair, because the AFC was substantially top heavy with the Patriots, Colts/Broncos when Peyton went to Broncos, and the Steelers for many, many years. Obviously, Tom Brady alone went to 9 Super Bowls in New England, for Christ's sakes. That alone is going to take up the far majority of appearances that you possibly could have from a conference. Then you got 4 from Manning and 3 from Ben Roethlisberger. That's a lot of, that's 9, 13, 15, 16 appearances 16 appearances in a very short amount of time. The NFC was wide open. Yes, it may have had more depth, and that's why but they never had a top heavy. The Saints could have been that team. The Saints could have been a Super Bowl team so many times, but they failed year after year in the playoffs, and sometimes in heartbreaking fashion. Yes, a few years ago when the Rams went, that should have been called a pass interference. It wasn't. It shouldn't have came down to that point, but it wasn't, and they would want. But you know what? They didn't. The Minneapolis Miracle. How that happens, I'll never know. And then last year, losing to the Vikings again as a 13-3 wildcard team. The second time that they've been a wildcard team as a 13-3 team. It's only happened in the 12-team playoffs. That's only happened 3 times that I'm aware of. They have twice. Obviously, now with a 17, that's more possible, and we saw it with the 13-3 Bills, who would have had bye if we had the whole setup. But yeah, I guess that's the point I'm trying to make here, is that Brees, as great as he was wasted in New Orleans in a lot of ways. Similar, not quite as bad, because again, they do have the Super Bowl title, but in a lot of ways, very similar to what Dan Marino went through in Miami. Dan Marino, I think he sometimes gets forgotten too often in greatest QB debates. He did things that were never seen before. He was the first 5,000-yard passer in 1984, in an era where you could destroy receivers. That's unheard of back then, and it didn't happen again until 24 years later by Drew Brees, and then didn't happen again for another 3 years, and then a bunch of people have done it since then, including Drew Brees, who has done it 5 freaking times. 5, count them, 5 5,000-yard passing seasons for Drew Brees. No one, not Brady, not Manning, no one else has more. No one else has more than 1, which is incredible. And he has 5. 5 of the 12 all time for the almost half. Almost as many as everyone else in NFL history. Yes, the passing era is here, and the passing stats are incredible, but his passing stats are on a different level. Yes, Brady is with him on a lot of areas, and I don't dismiss a lot of those. But what he did in individual seasons, I think he was one of the first 70 completion percentage. Now it's a fairly regular thing, but he was one of the first. He's had 74% completion percentage, which is just stupid. Yeah, maybe it wasn't a lot of yards, but you're not getting picks off this guy. You're not even getting any completions off this guy. Hell, this year alone, in only admittedly 12 games, he has 70.5% completion percentage and 24 TDs. He had 2 touchdowns a game, which is still pretty impressive for a 41-year-old QB. Yes, we see what Tom Brady's doing, which is incredible in a whole different light, and made me eat a lot of crow this year, quite frankly. But, Drew Brees is going to, I don't want to say be forgotten about, because I don't think he's going to be forgotten about. Like, Dan Marino's not forgotten about, but when you talk about all-time greats, Dan Marino might sometimes be forgotten in that discussion. You get Montana. Super Bowl titles seem to be the first thing a lot of people go to, and I don't know if that's completely fair. Well, it's not, but obviously I understand Brady being one for most people, and 6 titles, and leading Tampa Bay to the AFC title this year, which is stupid, is incredible, and being in 9 total Super Bowls. I mean, which is more than any other franchise. Period. But Brees won. I feel like they could have lucked into a second one. They should have in a lot of ways. Maybe you think the Bounty Gate situation was karma for the Saints, and that's why, if you believe in that kind of thing, and I do to a degree, but I'm not like huge into that. Or maybe you believe Sean Payton and Mickey Loomis aren't as great as people think they are. I mean, you have Drew Brees, and you can't make a second Super Bowl with him. Not even a second one. You only make one in the weaker conference, where guys like Rex Grossman, Jake Delhomme, granted that was in 2003, but guys like Rex Grossman make it. Guys like, Cam Newton made it with the Carolina. It was a great team, but that was 1 year. Colin Kaepernick made it with the Niners. Hell, the Giants made it twice with a combined 19 wins those 2 years. They were 10-6 and 9-7, and are arguably 2 of the worst Super Bowl teams ever. Yes, I realize they beat the Patriots. I include one of them was a 16-0 Patriots, but hey, lightning strikes every now and then, and that's what happened with those games. And I do think that we should lump, they won a title, but I do think Drew Brees' situation is very similar to Dan Marino's, and just a wasted great. I mean, how you only get one title? How you only get one championship appearance? Again, they didn't have Brady and Peyton Manning all those other years, other than this year with Brady and Tampa. They didn't have them. They didn't have the crazy elite outside of Aaron Rodgers, who they never played. They did. I don't know if they've ever played each other in the playoffs. Not that I'm aware of, and you can correct me on that. I don't remember ever having a Rodgers-Brees playoff game, which seems impossible, but seems like it never happened. I mean, outside Rodgers, which that's a whole other bag of worms. And for the record, yes, Green Bay is close to that territory with Aaron Rodgers, too. I wouldn't say the Brett Favre situation was similar, because they faced, unfortunately, it has Niners and Cowboys during that era. That was tough. And they made a second Super Bowl, which they probably should have won. They were heavily favored against the Broncos, and then they get Elway, and whatever. And then they probably should have made it a couple times in the 2000s, whatever. I don't quite put that in the same category, but Aaron Rodgers, is getting close to that category too, especially if they don't make it this year. But as far as Drew Brees goes, I put him top 5. I think he's the top 5 quarterback all time. Where in that top 5 for me, it doesn't matter. Everyone's gonna have a different top 5. Mine's probably a mix somewhere of like a Brady, Peyton Manning, Brees, Marino, Montana. You want to throw Elway in there? Throw Elway in there. You want to throw Steve Young in there? Throw Steve Young in there. I know some people put some of the guys, Brett Favre or whatever. Subjective ultimately. The goats. Does GOAT really matter? So one thing I've learned with the LeBron Michael Jordan debate, does it really freaking matter? They're two of the all-time best at whatever they did, and they're two of the funnest to watch in history. Enjoy watching them. So I enjoyed, despite him playing in the Jacksonville Jaguar division for many years. It's one of the reasons why I enjoyed watching Peyton Manning, because I knew I was watching one of the best and one of the craziest. Nobody's going to come close to what Peyton Manning was. I know Patrick Mahomes might be there, but he's a different kind of quarterback. And, he's not going to be Peyton Manning, what Peyton Manning was. Or nobody's going to be like Brady was. And, they're different quarterbacks. But, when you see greatness, who cares about the GOAT debate? Just enjoy what you're watching, because there's not going to be another one like him. There's not going to be another Drew Brees. There's not going to be another Tom Brady. There's not going to be another Peyton Manning. There's not going to be another LeBron James or Michael Jordan. Or Kobe Bryant. Drew Brees was fun to watch. And if this is it for him, obviously I wish him the best in whatever he does. I think he has a contract for whenever he does retire to be an analyst. Probably a really good analyst. If he goes into coaching, whatever he decides after this point. But the NFL he will be missed in the NFL world. The NFL won't be the same without Drew Brees and the Saints. It'll be different. The Saints will probably be a bottom 10 team next year, most likely. Even with Drew Brees, I'm not sure if they're going to be much better than that. Luckily, the NFC is pretty weak, so maybe with Drew Brees, it can be a little bit better than that. But they got a lot of decisions to make on a front office level for cap purposes. Nearly $100 million over the current projected cap. They might get some relief from that if it goes up a little bit more than if it doesn't drop as much as they think. But this was it for him. I think this was this window shut for the Saints, and they've had two reasonably good windows with Drew Brees, and one title and one Super Bowl appearance is all they got out of it. And I think it's obviously a shame, and when we look back on it, when history looks back on this, and we debate wasted talent, wasted years, Drew Brees should be close to number one. Maybe not number one because of Dan Marino, but for football-wise at least. But he was a waste of talent, and it's a shame. But as far as, but he's had a hell of a career, and it's been a hell of a ride. I've been watching him. He came in the league in 2001. Was a starter in 2002. I was 15 years old. This guy's been in the league, nearly 20 years, I think now, and it's been an impressive career in a number of ways. It's been fun to watch him, and it'll be a shame when he's gone, but here we are, and every great football player, every great basketball player, every great retires at some point from their game. And, we're here with Drew Brees. We've had Peyton Manning retire within the last few years. That should have been 5 years, 6 years, which is kind of incredible in its own right. It's, Aaron Rodgers, we'll get to that point, sometime down the road. You might still have another 5-6 years left. Obviously, we got Brady, who's 43, but Brady's going to be that point. You never know year to year what happens. Then we got young guns, the Patrick Mahomes, the Josh Allens, the Baker Mayfields. I don't know if Baker Mayfield's obviously not to those levels, but I think he played great, today against the Chiefs. But that's a whole other discussion. But enjoy what you're seeing, because end of an era. It really is, and it's in a lot of ways it's emotional for me, because these are guys that I knew through my teens. Watching through my teens, and in early 20s, and obviously I'm not nowhere near my 20s anymore. I'm 33, gonna be 34 in a month, but it's incredible to watch. Drew Brees was incredible. I'm rambling. I'm gonna end it now. Drew Brees, if he decides to retire, hope his retirement is awesome. Everything he wants. If he decides to come back one more year, maybe he gets lucky and gets a ring, but. Another ring, because he has one. But all right. On that note, once again, I am Christopher with the Lunchroom Syndicate. Thank you for joining me on this ramble, admittedly, just on my thoughts on Drew Brees, one of my favorite quarterbacks of all time, and what was likely his final game of his NFL career against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers in a loss in which nobody really played well for the Saints. Lost 30-20. 4 turnovers, 3 interceptions by Drew Brees, and another fumble by Jared Cook really cost them. It cost them the game because their defense actually did play well. I guess they did play good, but you can't do that. You can't do that against Tom Brady, and you can't do that against teams in the playoffs. It is what it is. Once again, I am Christopher from Lunchroom Syndicate, though. Until next time, deuces.